everybody. I'm Jacqui. Thanks for forsaking your tea. I hope that you'll push through with me. I'll be short and sharp. I'm from Native VML. We consider ourselves to be an agency for the digital age. And I'm a digital strategist and a user experience designer from Native. And so just right up front, I'm saying that I'm not an education expert, although I have been privileged to be on the receiving end of some education. But I work a lot in the space of digital transformation. And what I wanted to do today is to give you a view on how we approach digital transformation in an organization and how that could translate into an educational institution, and how you could take all the valuable content that you're receiving in a session like this today and formulate a model for your own organization, whether it's a school, an institution, whatever you are representing in your capacity today. I think this model applies quite well, and hopefully you'll find some value in how we put these concepts together to tell a story or create a business case for transformation. So in starting with that, the first point that I'd like to say in digital transformation is that I really like to focus on the transformation part of this, because transformation has to be answering a human need. It has to have a reason or a purpose that resides in our humanity and the needs of individuals in any kind of system. The digital part is the technology which is there to enable that human need. And while digital transformation, excuse me, is often a result of needing efficiency in an organization, needing to cut costs, scale a system, so perhaps in classrooms the teacher to student ratio is just unsustainably high. Those needs often drive it as business metrics or efficiencies that you're looking for, but you still need to look for what is the human value in what we're providing and how does it reward people. So if you don't, and you just put technology in place to do this, people will find a way around it, and the money that you invest will be wasted because they will just resist what you've put there and find a way to do it without you. So this is a classic view that we use as experience designers when users reject our technology. So putting the human need in the middle, we often refer to a need or a want. Sometimes wants are more powerful than needs and become the driver for anything. But this is where the purpose resides in any system. And around that we package it, and you can't see the questions in each corner, but we say, why are we doing this? What is the reason? What is the story that we want to tell that gives meaning and believability to what we're trying to achieve? And that should come out of that human need or understanding, and I'll speak to each one of these in a bit more detail. So this is the story we tell about our people, to give this meaning. And Raoul referenced it earlier when he said we want to light a fire for our learners. We want them to be inspired to learn. That's the kind of thing that we'd look at in this space. Then we look at the how. This is the platform work. This is how you deliver to that promise or how you answer that need and create an experience for whoever you're designing this for that will allow that promise or that story to be told and delivered. Then we look at who are we drawing into this ecosystem? So this is the marketing of an experience or a transformation. How do we engage the right people, the people we want, and the people who will get value from what we're trying to create? How do we draw them in and keep them going? And we spoke to gamification a couple of minutes ago, but those are the kinds of things that we look at. How do we draw these people in, the right people, and keep them going? And finally, what are we actually offering them? And what is the content or the product that actually has the value that is delivered through this platform that we're drawing people into and that we're creating a promise about? And is it the right value for the right people? So all of these four components come together to answer that middle question of how do we deliver a human need? And then technology layers onto that as the enabler for that system. But I want to talk a little bit more about that, unpacking what that human need really is in any of your contexts. what we would do around this is research real people, like Raoul was speaking about. He went into the classroom that his daughter was being taught in and really got a sense of what was going on there. And starting to understand the journeys that people take and the insights around their truth, their reality, rather than your assumptions about that, which is very easy for us to make assumptions from our own perspective, but sometimes those aren't the perspectives of the people who are on the receiving end. So when we're doing this, we look at all the different types of people or archetypes that play a role in that organization. In this case, learners, parents, teachers, students, administrators, service providers, and potentially leaving some placeholders open. Because once you start a journey like this, you start to uncover types of users or people who you may not have ever spoken to before, who may not be people you thought had a need for your organization, and it turns out they do. So leave some places open to allow some innovation or potential new avenues for education around the people. And these, learners could be adults, could be children. Parents could be blood relatives or guardians or caretakers. There are many different flavors and different needs that layer into each of these types of people who experience the organizations that you represent. For each of these types of people, there's also a time component. So they have a different experience in a day that they engage with your organization or your school versus what a week or a month or a year looks like and what the rhythm and flow of that journey is for them versus what a lifetime relationship might be like with your institution. So how do you want to keep this person engaged for the full duration of the time that you can offer them value and that they can bring value? So we look at it over time as well. And we do both qualitative and quantitative research. So qualitative is about going out and having conversations, going into those classrooms, understanding at the grass level what exactly is going on, and speaking to people and getting all the different views represented that you might not have yourself. So really doing a lot of shadowing, spending time, and understanding from observing real life what's really going on. And then there's quantitative research alongside that, looking at data and looking at social media and understanding the patterns that can give you these insights. From that, we create journeys. We literally walk through a day, a month, a year of a person's life and work out where the important pieces are. We could turn these into fancy diagrams if you want to do a little roadshow for the people who you want to get buy-in from. But really, you're telling a story about what you want your people to experience, and you're trying to find the innovation and the pain that's in that. Where's the friction? What's making this hard? What's not working? Where are the kids playing the games they're not supposed to play in class? Where are they disengaged? How do we overcome the friction and the pain with opportunities to innovate? So when we go through each of these, we look at really understanding how to tell a story, but then looking at gamification and ways to take people into that story and keep them there and just inspire them and motivate them and give them a sense of accomplishment. Then in the content space, starting to look at trends around education that we've seen in our space where there's a just enough style of education now where you don't need to do 2 years or 5 years, but actually 6 weeks might get you over the next hurdle in your career. And those kinds of just enough education to answer a milestone, as well as organizations who've never traditionally been educational organizations are starting to produce educational content. And then the platforms, how we deliver this. This is talking about how, for example, in teaching a language, how we're moving from tapes and language laboratories into social contexts where apps can allow people to connect with each other and learn languages from each other. those kinds of ways of delivering an experience that use resources that may not have previously been recognized as resources. So, and you'll see I've got a quick case study at the end where you'll see the use of a resource that is a very neglected one in our society and how we can innovate around that. So then, in a nutshell, the technology then comes on top of that. Once you have the story, the strategic story to tell, and you understand why you're transforming and how you want that transformation to take place, that's when you go and you look for technology and you say, how do we enable this? How do we make the story come to life? And I'm going to play you a little case study, which I find very inspiring, which really wraps up for me how resources can be used in a transformative way in an educational space, and how technology can connect people together in a way that is different to the classical classroom setup. So I'm going to play this video for you. Hope you can hear the sound.
Not all of our students have the chance to travel abroad and to interact with native speakers of English. What our students really want is to speak English fluently, and we're always asking ourselves, how can we make it more real, more human? We created a tool that connects our students with seniors in the USA living in retirement homes.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Melissa.
Hi, Dick. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
It's the first time that I'm talking with someone from another country.
I'm very excited to be doing this.
I look like I'm only 25, but I'm 88.
Do you have sisters and brothers?
No, I'm one child.
Only one? Oh, you poor fella.
I live with my old brother. He has 23 years.
Do you know, instead of saying he has 23 years, you could say he is 23 years old.
I tried to go to Lollapalooza that we have next week, I think, in Brazil, but my mom didn't let me.
You got a good mom.
Good morning, dear Julia. Good morning to you.
This is your dad?
That's me and my wife when we were young.
Oh, you were good looking when you were young. And you're still good looking.
My first destiny is United States, of course, because I wanted to put better my English.
Well, you do very well, I must say.
Are you planning someday to go to Brazil?
Oh, I would like to.
You can stay in my house if you want.
If you could just dream and have whatever you want, what do you think you would like to be doing?
I see myself in a big family, you know, with a beautiful wife, you know. I want to thank you for this change of experience, you know. You are incredible.
Obrigado.
You are my new granddaughter, and I love you.
I love you too.
And if you were here, I would give you a big hug.
Oh yeah, let's hug. Oh. Bye.
Bye.
So in summing up, and I think that's a very heartwarming story, but for me, digital transformation is about people. And the technology is there to connect people in new and interesting ways to create education in a different way, in a different model in our world. Thank you.